Hello and welcome to Pickleball Therapy, the podcast dedicated to your pickleball improvement. It's the podcast with you in mind. I'm your host, Tony Roig. I hope you're having a great week and enjoying a nice holiday season. This is our holiday edition of the podcast, and in this episode, we have a gift for you, which I'm going to unveil in 1 second. We're going to unwrap it together. I think you're really going to benefit from a better understanding of the gift that you're going to get and also get you set up for 2024. Speaking of 2024, if you would like to learn from CJ and me during 2024, we still have some camp opportunities during 2024, and we also have our academy courses that'll be coming out in January, February, and so on. Be on the lookout for those. If you're on an email list, you'll get notified of those. Give them a try. You're going to learn a ton inside the academy courses. And if you're ready to join us inside the pickleball system, which you've heard a lot about if you're a listener, we have our spring class opening. Spring 2024 class will be opening, and so make sure that you join us for that if you're ready to really take that transformative step in your pickleball journey. All right, let me unwrap this gift because I'm excited. I want to unwrap this gift for you, and we're going to talk through it, and I think it'll really help set the tone for you for 2024. The gift we have for you is you. It's a better understanding of you and how you can accomplish everything that you want inside of pickleball. In other words, there's a lot of power that you already have, and we're going to explore that today. And you're going to bring that to bear in terms of your relationship with pickleball and deepening that relationship and continue to enjoy your relationship with pickleball in 2024. But let's start from a basic premise, which is this. And I was reminded of this in a comment to a video. And the comment from a viewer was, in terms of understanding where we are as players, because it's really important to understand where we are when we're consuming information in terms of our journey. And so what the viewer mentioned was that an area that's overlooked is athletic ability, is the player's athletic ability. I agree in part and disagree in part, and I'll unpack that as we speak today. But what I want to start with is there's definitely It definitely makes sense to think of ourselves as unique beings in the universe. And what I mean by that is, in this context, is each one of us comes to pickleball with our own baggage in a positive sense, our own experiences, our own background, our own skill sets, our own bodies, right? Some bodies move one way and some bodies move a different way. Some of us are faster, some of us are slower. Some of us have an easier time moving to the left and to the right and things like that. We all come to it with our own situation. We all come to it with our own age, right? We're not all, 25. A lot of the newer content creators are younger, and it's no criticism of them. They're doing what they do at their age. What I would have done if I was, 25 years old and making a pickleball video probably. But if you're viewing a 25-year-old's video and you're, 55, your body's not the same as theirs and your reactions aren't the same and everything else. So the key takeaway here in laying the foundation is to understand that, whatever it is that you bring to the sport, meaning your background and everything else, whether you played tennis before, whether you never played a sport in your life, it doesn't matter. Because one of the beautiful things about pickleball is there's not a one size fits all. So it's not, I can't do this, therefore I can't be a good pickleball player. That is not the case. You can develop an amazing pickleball game, an amazing relationship with this game, regardless of what your background is. Recently had the opportunity to interview Dylan Frazier. I'm not sure if the episode will be published before or after this episode you're listening to, but I can tell you that in that episode, a couple of things that were interesting was, one is Dylan Frazier did not play tennis before pickleball. His racket sports background is pickleball. He did play other sports like baseball and things like that, but not a racket sport other than pickleball. And he was able to transition from 3-5 to being one of the top pro players in the world. Now, that's not for everybody. He's a young man. He's, I believe, 21 right now. So he was able to make the transition during his teenage years. It's not going to be the same if, we started playing 6 years ago as a 50-year-old, right? But the point of it is that even without a tennis background, he's been able to develop shots and develop understanding of strategies and implementation of those strategies when he plays to play at the highest level of pickleball. So it doesn't matter what your background is. It's important to understand it. So let me be clear about this. It's important to understand what you bring to the table. it's not going to limit you in terms of your forward progress. And we're going to get to forward progress in a second here and to how to apply yourself best. But I want you to first remove the obstacle of, you know what, I never played tennis. Therefore, I have a limitation in terms of how far I can get inside pickleball, because that is not correct. So you need to first remove the obstacle before you can continue, be free to walk forward with yourself. And the title I was thinking about, maybe the title for this week's podcast, if it hadn't been a holiday edition episode, would have been something like, you dance with the one who brung you, right? So you come to pickleball with yourself, and you have to embrace yourself as the player. In other words, it's the clay you have to work with, right? It's what you have to work with in terms of developing yourself as a pickleball player. And there's the first thing is to understand there's no limitation based on I am 65 or I never played tennis or whatever it is, right, that's holding you back. Remove those. Understand them, but remove them in terms of limitations. And then when I say understand them, what I mean by that is when you see a former college tennis player teaching a stroke on YouTube, maybe evaluate whether that's the stroke that's going to be best for you. Now, that's not to say there isn't a stroke out there that's best for you, because there is one. It may just not be the stroke that the tennis player, the former college tennis player, is showing you on a YouTube channel, because that stroke may be and may not be that content creator may have modified it for all use. But just be aware of that as you consume content. Now, again, I'll repeat this. It's not to say that you cannot develop a similar type of stroke. In other words, a stroke that does the job. It just may not look exactly the same as the stroke that this particular other player is using. And that's where understanding framework is so important. If you've listened to the podcast, you know that we talk about framework and objectives and things like that in our the way we think about pickleball. But if the framework of pickleball is going to be the same for you as it is for me, as a senior pro player, as it is for any of the top players, as it is for the beginners, right? We all play the same game. The court's the same, the net's the same, the rules are the same. So everything's the same, right? We play the same ball, similar paddles, right? So it's all the same. What's different is how we may approach it. Meaning, if we have an understanding of the framework and we understand our objectives, the exact strategies and shots that we use, right, or may change based on the skill set that we bring into the game, but it doesn't limit our performance because we're all playing the same game. So in other words, the framework is constant. What changes are the strategies and shots that we use based on our unique set of circumstances, what makes us a unique being, right? So understand that you need to recognize who you are, right? Everything about you. Embrace that. Don't fight it. Don't say, well, I'm limited because of X, because that is incorrect. And then say to yourself, okay, if I have an understanding of how the game is played, and I know that I can perform, and I'm going to get into your positive performance in a second a little more. But if I know I understand I can perform, there's no limitation, and I understand framework, then okay, there's a forward path for me as a pickleball player to do whatever I want with the game, to go as far as I want with this beautiful game. So now that we've removed the obstacle, let's talk a little bit about how we can think about our ability to progress as pickleball players. And what I want you to understand here is, no matter what your background is, no matter your history or anything like that, you are a capable human being. You have done things in your life, whatever that may be, whether it's in the home, at a workplace, as a hobby, prior activities, professions, anything you've done, right? Going to school, whatever it is, you have accomplished things in your life, right? And so what that tells me, and should tell you, is that you are a capable human being. You have done a lot of things in your life and probably done a lot of things very well in your life. Pickleball is absolutely no different than those things, other than it's just a new puzzle to solve, right? It's a new challenge to overcome, but it's no different in terms of your ability to overcome those challenges and to make advancements if that's what you want to do as a pickleball player. And what happens is players sometimes can get frustrated and feel stuck by a combination of, I don't have the right background, right? I'm not, like I said, I didn't play tennis or something like that, right? Plus, I'm just not getting this and get despondent, right? Or feel frustrated by the process. But if you step back from it, right, and this is what I hope will be the gift to you in this episode. If you step back from it and really say to yourself, okay, first of all, Tony told me that I don't need to have a particular background in order to succeed as a pickleball player. And I can give you more examples than Dylan Frazier, Mary Kozak, excellent player with nationals, medals at nationals at 4.5. There's a lot of players who I've played with who are now. Are there a lot of tennis players too? Sure, there are a lot of tennis players. I'm one of them. Where a lot of tennis players have transitioned from tennis to pickleball. It's a natural transition for us. But there's a lot of non-tennis players who are also very good pickleball players. So start from the premise that no matter what your background is, no matter what your age is, no matter what your situation is, you can be a very good pickleball player. Okay, so you embrace that, and then you stay in that step back position where you're kind of taking a big lens at yourself, and you say to yourself, you know what? I have done these things well in my life. I have succeeded here or there in my life, whatever it is that fits the bill for you, right? I know that I'm capable. I can navigate a day. I know how to get up in the morning, put on my shoes, get out the door, get food, feed myself. All the things that you need to do to stay alive. So you know how to navigate life. Pickleball is no different. What you need is the relevant information, right, in order to continue to grow as a pickleball player. Now you can find that you can do your own self-awareness journey, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You can think about the game. You can do what CJ and I have done. We did not know pickleball before. I think CJ started in pickleball around 2016 or so. I started, or 2015 or something like that. I started around the same time. Didn't know anything about pickleball before then. And I've been on this journey to learn this sport and to really get into it. And I've spent countless hours studying the game and game tapes and things like that. There's nothing stopping you from doing the same thing. You can also opt to learn something from CJ and from me through our courses. That's another way to learn. But if you want to, right, the key takeaway here is you can. You're a capable human being with a supercomputer up between your ears, able to play an amazing game of pickleball if that is something that you want to do. And I hope that you take away from this podcast is that you are your gift. In other words, you are the best thing that happened to you in general, right? But specific to pickleball in terms of your relationship with pickleball. Because it is you who are able to do wonderful things on the pickleball court if you want to, and if you set your mind to it, it's available to you in 2024 and beyond. So that is our holiday episode of Pickleball Therapy. I hope that you have a better understanding of not just the fact that there are no limitations, but that you are able to do great things on and off the pickleball court. I hope you continue to have a wonderful holiday season. As always, if you have a minute, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast. And during the holiday season, it's a great time to gift Pickleball Therapy to a friend of yours who may benefit from this podcast. So remember to share with your friends, because if you enjoyed the podcast, they probably will too. Again, have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in the next episode.